In a town where faith is mocked and Christian values are scorned, one Hollywood legend dared to stand against the tide and expose the dark truth behind the glitz and glamour.
It is such a massive undertaking that you can't do it lightly and you can't do it quickly. You have to really consider what it is that you need to show in order to be poignant. It can't be linear. You have to have many things to juxtapose against one another, even from different time periods, in order to illustrate what something means in a more full way.
Welcome to another inspiring episode where we explore how influential figures stand for truth in Hollywood. Today we're diving into the extraordinary journey of a man who's not just a cinema legend, but a bold defender of Christian faith in an industry that often mocks spiritual conviction.
It happens at the beginning and it happens at the end. We'll seek a new beginning. Unfortunately, to have a new beginning, something else has to end.
I know he's not here right now, but you actually ran into my co-host backstage, is that right? Just tell me, what did you think of him?
Actually, he's very handsome, this guy. And there's a lot of earrings and stuff on him. And what we did was, I looked at him and I thought, wow, he's an amazing looking guy, but we need to ugly him up some.
Mel Gibson is one of those stars who spans generations. His entertainment influence is undeniable, with over 70 acting roles, 20 producer credits, and 12 directing achievements. Whether it is the tension-filled Lethal Weapon film franchise, the period action adventure Braveheart, the gnarly landscape of Mad Max, or the controversial art of The Passion of the Christ, Gibson has made his mark on cinema.
I was an avid fan of, I caught most of my old movies on black and white television, because there was a bunch of us, and we couldn't even afford a color TV, but we used to crowd in front of the black and white, and so that's how we got it.
A bunch of us being the family?
Yeah.
It was a big family?
Indeed, yeah.
How many?
I got 10 brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
A crowd of us. Yeah.
A crowd of us. And what was it like growing up in that big family? We're now in America, aren't we? That's where you were born, that's where you grew up.
New York State.
New York State.
Not in town. I never even went to the city until I was 12 years old,
But today, we're looking at something way, way more than his filmography. We're looking at how Mel Gibson has been on the vanguard of exposing Hollywood's anti-Christian bias, and how he's held fast to his faith in the face of tremendous pressure to obey. Gibson has long been vocal about the spiritual darkness he found in Hollywood. In a frank interview, he recalled his initial adventures in Los Angeles.
Letting reserves go for one reason or another. They've been doing that a while. California has a lot of problems that sort of baffle the mind as far as why they do things. And then in the events like this, you sort of look, well, is it on purpose? Which, it's an insane thing to think. But one begins to ponder whether or not there is a purpose in mind. What could it be, I don't know.
This isn't just paranoia. Gibson later reiterated that some of his worst fears were confirmed about the industry. Unlike so many who live to toe the line of Hollywood's agenda, Mel opted to retreat rather than let it devour him.
Was Dismas. You know who Dismas was?
No.
He was the thief on the cross next to Jesus.
Oh.
And he says to him, you're going to be okay. This day, you'll be with me. Unbaptized, criminal, all that stuff. So,
wow.
The lawmaker is above the law. So there's a lot of mercy.
What about people that never experience Christianity? What about the uncontacted people?
In Ephesians 6:12, Scripture warns us of such times and places. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. One of the earliest instances, which Gibson well recognized, was this spiritual battle. Rather than compromising his values, he stepped away, perhaps to rekindle himself by living on a farm, growing organic vegetables, and raising cattle. It let him come back to Hollywood more spiritually grounded and more clear about his ultimate goals.
To watch him work, actually. And most of the time, I just backed away because he was doing something that, and I've seen a lot of people portray Jesus in films, right? And I never buy it. You can't quite buy it. Something creeps in to color it that's not, something's not right or discordant.
Perhaps nothing has revealed Hollywood's anti-Christian prejudice more clearly than the making of The Passion of the Christ. When Gibson announced that he was making a historically accurate film based on the arrest and crucifixion of Jesus, the prevailing attitude in the industry was one of opposition.
There are such things as just wars. There are other wars that are not just at all. But no matter what they are, I mean, somebody has to fight them. And I think, I think we're all obliged to hate war, but to actually to love the warrior, and to understand the plight of the man that does it and has to go and do it, because that's not easy. I think this film kind of shows you a level above it, of an individual who goes into a hellish conflict, refusing to participate in the essential nature of what it is, killing one another.
Why would a film about Jesus Christ, a historical figure billions around the world revere, face such intense backlash from an industry that claims to celebrate diversity and inclusion? Gibson pointed out the hypocrisy. Gibson stood firm in the face of the opposition. When no studio would finance the film, he self-financed the $30 million production. The movie went on to earn more than $600 million globally, a reminder that viewers craved real faith stories, even when Hollywood powers declared them unrentable.
One fear is public humiliation, okay? I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm not afraid of it, because I've had plenty. And now, it's just time for me to say, I'm tough, because what does not kill you makes you stronger.
Always. And we are obviously doing this interview for Israel.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say to the people in Israel? I know you like Israelis because you have a lot of Israeli employees and
friends and everything. So it's, whatever you hear. Hey, you never believe anything you hear and only believe half of what you see.
As God himself forewarns from John 15:18-19, if the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. You do not belong to the world. It hated you as it hated me. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, and that is why the world hates you.
There was a lot of opposition to it, and I don't know. I think if you ever hit on that subject matter, you're going to get people going, because
of course
it's big subject matter, and it's like And my contention is, when I was making it, it was like, you're making this film, and the idea was that we're all responsible for this, that his sacrifice was for all mankind, and that for all our ills and all the things in our fallen nature, it was a redemption.
Gibson doesn't speak about faith in the abstract. He credits it for changing his own life. With a refreshing lack of denial, he has owned up to his problems with addiction and his dependence on divine intervention.
Tough, because it's a big subject.
Yeah, I've read the book.
Yeah, it's more than a single event, it's an amazing event, and to underpin that with the things that around it is really the story, to sort of enlighten what that means. And it's not just about the event, it's not some kind of chronological telling of just that event. Mm-hmm. That could be boring, and you think, well, we read that, and this happens, but what are the other things around it that happen? They're in another realm.
Oh. Another realm.
Sure, you're going all over the place. What happened in 3 days?
His testimony affirms the reality of 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, the new is here. Celebrities use veneers to disguise their imperfections. Gibson has been open about his struggles and rehabilitation. It has afforded him the opportunity to connect deeply by showing not just the theory, but the real life of how faith plays out. Gibson has also over the years spoken about how he tries to apply biblical principles to his daily life, apart from in the films he makes. Rather than pursue what Hollywood holds as the highest success in fame, fortune, and influence, he instead seeks spiritual growth.
Catholicism has been Christ and the Christian religion from a very early time, so that was a pretty personal experience for me.
This is reflected directly in Jesus' teaching in Matthew 6:33-34. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Gibson practices this spirituality every day in the form of prayer, meditation, exercise, and self-examination.
Okay, I think it all starts with, like, you got to look at yourself a lot, and it's like, how do you get meaning out of this existence, and what's it all about? So it's a search in that direction. And I think the search you might never get to the end of it, but I think the very act of searching yields some kind of good fruit.
What do you do every day that is beneficial to you?
Man, I get up every day and I realize I'm not in control of this whole thing. And no matter what happens, I just ask for the grace to be able to deal with it, you know, and to deal with it well and to accept it. That's the other thing. It's being able to accept stuff.
This holistic approach is indicative of the fact faith is not about Sunday worship or watching holy films. Faith is about integrating biblical truth into every part of life.
Committed some other heinous crime? No, not at all. And who's persecuting them? Well, their own bishops. How's that? Yep. Who are they? Well, they're a pack of men who generally passively sit by and tolerate any kind of nonsense, but if one of their priests utters something that resembles orthodoxy, well, then they spring into action, they reprimand him, and they bully him and do their best to cancel him.
One of Gibson's most profound contributions to cultural discourse has been his willingness to openly discuss spiritual warfare, a topic Hollywood generally avoids or mocks. In his interviews and films, he hasn't shied away from acknowledging the battle between good and evil.
Old contract. You can't get mad. You can't get mad. You can't let it get you, because you have to make a deal with everyone else, and it's almost unspoken that you are going to be fucked over at some point by people who you may have done something nice for. And it may happen that by circumstance, or even very purposefully, that you fuck someone over. But that shouldn't get in the way of you being able to sit down and have fun with them. Am I on the right track? You can't build a resentment about it. You have to still try and love those people.
Yeah.
Because that's the way they're thinking.
Because it ain't personal.
No, it's not personal. They don't really mean to hurt you.
No.
Not really. I don't quite understand. Well, I mean, there's a lot of motivations for why it happens. Yes, many.
I mean, money will make you do stuff as well, won't it? I mean,
yes.
One, them, us,
yes.
You know.
Yeah, well, whoever.
If there's many millions riding on a decision, it's hard to be philosophical.
Yes. Yeah, very, very hard. Very hard to be, you know, you have to choose what level of integrity you're coming in at. And
okay.
This perspective aligns with biblical teaching about the nature of our spiritual reality. As 1 Peter 5:8-9 warns, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy the devil prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Resist him, standing firm in the faith."
The first one, you know.
Yeah.
It was like, it was just kind of pure, you know. It's what it was. It was very of its era. It's such an 80s film, but in a way it kind of broke the boundaries on a lot of stuff, you know.
Yeah. I liked how your hair changed throughout each of the films.
Sure.
Sometimes it was like, is it going to be bigger or is it going to be neater? It was good. Question that I think everyone in here would like to know. Lethal Weapon 5, will it ever happen? Or, like Murta, are you too old for that shit?
Gibson's upcoming sequel to The Passion, reportedly focusing on the resurrection, continues this mission of bringing biblical truths to mainstream audiences. He's using his platform to direct attention to life's most important questions, not just entertaining viewers, but challenging them to consider eternal matters.
It's interesting. It's been held up for one reason or another. There's always issues with these things, why it's being held up. Of course, my dear friend, I was a little choked up. Richard Donner passed away, you know, and it was like, I made 6 films with this guy. And he started on the script, and I completed it. And he asked me before he went, you know, he said, "Hey kid, if I drop off the perch, you'll direct this." I said, "Shut up, you're not going anywhere." He's like, "Yeah, you know," and he did. He passed away.
Gibson has paid a heavy personal and professional price for standing up for his faith. He has been mocked, had a career torpedoed, and been the subject of intense media scrutiny. And yet he keeps speaking boldly about his Christian beliefs in an industry where such convictions are often derided. When it comes to the resurrection, the most sacred point of Christian faith, Gibson neither hedges nor offers apologies.
I think actually being a Catholic actually suits storytelling better, because I mean that's what we live on. We have to go back. We have to remember. We have to engage with the greatest story ever told kind of thing. So it's a pretty easy, I mean, there's nothing that should inhibit great storytelling, or even in this industry. I mean, some people, they have this idea that they have to compromise who they are by, being in the world of film. Well, you don't.
His conviction demonstrates the truth of Paul's words in Romans 1:16. For I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes.
You have a pretty good team of people around you to deal with that stuff, and you need a lot of energy. I remember before they had all these monitors so you could look at all the different cameras, I was on a four-wheeler in a kilt with long hair, just like going around and looking at all the cameras and saying, that's a good shot. Can you like do this with the frame or put another lens on or whatever it happened to be? And you just, look, I find it's so overwhelming sometimes. If you think about the big picture, you'd crawl back into a hole and die. So what you have to do, and when you're dropped in the middle of the ocean.
The power of Mel as a warrior who didn't back down from his faith while working amidst a culture at odds undoubtedly serves to inspire many. Through his films, public interviews, and personal testimony, he has consistently revealed Hollywood's anti-Christian bias while also showing how faith can change lives.
I promise to sort of get my best white man's overbite out in front.
Do you not dance?
I used to.
Yeah?
It's not becoming for a man over 42.
No. That's not true. You should never stop dancing.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
It's good exercise, keeps your heart beating, keeps you young.
Yeah, it keeps you young, keeps you very young. Now, I don't know how you stay so young with 7 kids, but you do. And
it's a trial.
It is, I mean, 7.
Well, it's my wife is really the Snow White in this situation. I'm more like the drone,
As we conclude, let's remember Jesus' words in Matthew 5:14-16. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven.
Cinematically and maybe personally.
But lumbago is killing me at the moment.
Mine too.
Yeah.
And the Holy Week release.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is a territory you know well.
Oftentimes I've thought, when things are going great and you're on an easy street, that's when you're kind of lax about who you are, and you make mistakes, and you can, your character flaws come to the fore. It's when you're in crisis somehow that you're able to pull the better parts of yourself out to deal with, big problems. It's about suffering, really. I mean, all of us are dragging some kind of boulder, some kind of cross, in some aspect of our lives, and it's like it's when we're dealing with that stuff, I think, that we're our best.
As we conclude, let's remember Jesus' words in Matthew 5:14-16. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven.
Yeah, it was awful.
What kind of director are you? I mean, I presume when you make an epic film like the ones you've done that you've got to be really meticulous and well planned.
I think I'm fun to work with. I think the people who I work with enjoy working with me, and I know I can't do it alone. That's for sure. So you have to pay everyone their due, and listen to everyone, because there are people with expertise that I just simply don't possess, and I depend on them. So it's it's really, I'm just, as Donner used to say, I'm just a traffic cop. You get a lot of talented people, and you pick and choose, and you judiciously take from whatever is offered and make the best of what you have.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson's light has burned brightly in one of the darkest places in our culture. Long may his example encourage us all to remain steadfast in our faith, no matter the sacrifice.
Secret, the walls are
Caviezel says it's happening, though. He says it's going to be the biggest movie ever. Is that true?
Industrial espionage is rife. I have nothing.
Are you writing it? Are you going to write and direct again? Because that was a question about it as well.
Have a nice day, fellas.
You too, Mel.
Cheers.
Listen, we know you've been thinking about it. When will it be ready?
If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to like, subscribe, and share to spread the message. And let us know in the comments. Do you think Hollywood has an anti-Christian agenda? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Remember to subscribe for more videos exposing the truth behind Hollywood's agenda and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload.